pause. Let's get a huge cheer for this pause, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they love it here in Birmingham. This will give us plenty of time to talk about a lot of things, Cinderins. But looking at these lineups, though, do you agree with whatever the panel said? Because we were definitely listening.
I don't know. I think the main thing, once again, for this game is, the way I see it, Heroic are a bit more on a timer, I would say. The Nature's Prophet wants to get stuff done early. You want to disrupt Liquid from hitting their stride in the mid game, where both Brewmaster, Puck, as well as the TA are going to combine really powerfully into team fights. And you got to keep in mind the stat as well, right? That was brought up post-game is Heroic have the highest kill participation out of any player on their mid and the lowest on their carry. Their carry is playing Lifestealer. He's not going to get involved in the first 15 to 20 minutes here for the most part, K1.
Yeah.
So Leshrac has a key role to play here, but not the easiest setups to land his spells, right? There's no real targeted stun that you're going to be playing off. Whereas for Liquid, maybe a little bit more ease of execution favoring them with the Puck and the Bane.
Yeah. Do you think the Lifestealer will have any trouble this game? And we got the Fiend's Grip. Puck is very annoying. Not really a hero that Lifestealer can kill that easily without a lot of help.
Yes and no. I think the main thing... I actually think the Bane is going to be the biggest problem, specifically because they, on the side of Heroic, they don't have the best ways of interrupting Fiend's Grip. But aside from that, I think this can definitely be a good Lifestealer game. His lane should be quite good. He's playing against, I'm assuming, what will be Brewmaster Mirana. I think that's a fine lane, and I know I've said it a lot of times already, but the Nature's Prophet, he is just an X-factor in these early games, and if he comes to the Lifestealer lane, gets him ahead, and gets the ball rolling for Heroic, this is a very momentum-based team in general. So
Yeah,
I love seeing them run this.
Would you say Prophet is still in that category of looks terrible if the laning stage doesn't go great?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's quite polarizing in its results. It's 1-0 in the tournament.
Oh, we got a Nightmare into an arrow, and likely the first blood to follow. The only question is who snags it. It will be 33 on the Brewmaster for Team Liquid. K1, though, showing some aggression onto Mickey. He's going to find his cover in the wave here, but Divine Llama and company will continue the pressure under the tier 2. Grimstroke not able to hit that, but Mickey still has to walk all the way back to base and might lose a little bit of XP as a result.
So Nature's Prophet received some nerfs after being a really popular hero some months ago. He has slightly worse laning, which we will see how much comes into play bottom. Obviously also a pretty big deal that 33 gets the first blood on the Brewmaster for how this bottom lane is going to play out. He'll very quickly get access to 2 bracers probably. So it's a bit unfortunate for the Lifestealer lane that we were just talking about, having a, theoretically speaking, pretty good matchup here. Maybe Liquid can squeeze a bit out of that early advantage that they got.
And of course, Analog is the one that died, so in that mid lane will likely be at a disadvantage early on, but we'll see how he can recover on this Leshrac.
I think this matchup in general, the couple of times we've seen it, I feel like Lesh has done quite well against Puck. I think you find the farm, sometimes you get a bit of an advantage even early on in just raw CS. And also the hero had a really good win rate. I was unaware of this going into this game, just how good Lesh has been looking. He's 10-4.
Really?
So one of the highest win rate heroes of the tournament here, being run by Heroic as a last pick, is quite interesting. Because I think in all the games we've covered, this hero has not been picked, right? So we haven't got to see it very much in our games, but obviously the results speak for themselves. And
yeah, but this is the part of the tournament that the picks and bans get really interesting because the meta starts to develop a little bit further. People start thinking on next level, or in some cases previous level type mentality. Like the Leshes of the world could be picked as, like, you know, kind of a flex if you want to really go down that far. If it's that powerful, they can pick it as a support if they need to, but obviously the mid lane is where it's mostly been played right now. And we're back in Nisha and Analog, relatively even CS so far. And what kind of pressure do you think each of these players face from the opposing supports? Are we looking at that 6-minute power rune timing as per norm?
Yeah, I think what played a part in them picking this Puck in the mid lane is you wanted to have a mid hero that was difficult for Nature's Prophet to overwhelm. So I think that's going to be a difficult play for KJ to find there. For the side of Liquid, it's a lot easier with Bane or Mirana. If you find some cool arrow on a flank against the Lesh, that could lead to a kill. And of course, level 6 is when it gets even easier. So I would say a little bit more pressure on the Lesh in that regard. But at the same time, I don't know if Liquid can really afford to move their Mirana for too long, because I think this this bottom lane Brewmaster really wants to have some assistance in the first few levels at the very least. And 33 is making the most of it. 10-3 on the CS, and that first blood is putting him at the top of the net worth chart right now.
Yep, definitely off to a good start. It'll be hard to pressure him out. And we'll see what kind of rotation Boxy will have on this
Mick is in
Mirana.
trouble.
Yep, TP in. And Mick does fall to Schofield. Sprout onto Instania, but Heroic not going to go any further here. They get their first kill on the board, and it's a pretty important one on that TA.
Has been killed.
Yep. KJ teleported in for that. He's going to be making his waddle up to the gate and head back bottom. The timing of this pretty good. K1 is already relatively safe in the range of his tower, so it didn't really cost them too much in their safe lane. A lot of the times when you go for early rotations with a position 5, the carry can suffer, but obviously the luxury of Nature's Prophet is how quick he is at returning. That was about as perfectly timed as that could have been for Heroic, so they get on the board.
Another Sprout on the Boxy will simply leap away. So in terms of the builds for like the Lifestealers, is there any variation to this Radiance build? We've seen Radiance a little bit later sometimes it's like second item, pretty much right off the bat. Seems to be just the go-to this patch.
Yeah, I definitely think Radiance is more or less an every game thing for the hero. The item has just been buffed so much, and it helps offset some matchups that theoretically and especially historically are bad for Lifestealers, such as the TA. Once you get that Radiance, you have a way of dealing with refraction better. The evasion is amazing, the blind's amazing. There's just so many upsides to getting this item on Lifestealer. So I definitely think he's getting it. The question usually is, do you get Armlet before or not? Instania?
Yeah, might be in some trouble. Inkswell will end up hitting into the swashbuckle, so easy kill for Divide Llama, not even needing the assistance of the Nature's Prophet.
Yep.
And that's another hero I wanted to talk about is the Bane Elemental Cinderman. This hero, why is it picked so often all of a sudden? And we saw some really good play in the group stage.
Especially a standout player on the hero in the tournament so far for me has been Seb.
Yeah, for sure.
Had a couple of incredible games. It's a good question. I feel like when Bane comes back in the meta, a lot of the time it's about what carries are being run, because the hero has some incredible utility against specific heroes, especially when they're not illusion-based. So if you think about it, the illusion carries aren't really being played very much, right? So Bane will often be able to find the right target with Fiend's Grip. And if you get into a meta where you get to stabilize the lane with Bane and you don't have to farm very much, which the hero is pretty bad at wave clearing until he gets a shard, which you never really buy, you get it for free or you don't get it. He definitely has his weaknesses, but a lot of it is about what cores are trending. And right now that seems quite good for the Bane.
And we've been seeing a lot of Aghanim Scepter. This patch, these supports are getting super farmed, so Aghanim Scepter Bane is not that unusual anymore. So making the cancellation of the Fiend's Grip extra hard. Definitely have to give credit so far to KJ, as we're going to see mid lane, Coil onto the Lesh. KJ comes in, sprouts Nisha, Analog will die first though, as Nisha should be able to walk away safely. KJ not able to finish the job.
And that's that level 6 move, and they make it before Lesh is 6. With a level 6 on Lesh there, this is a different story, so really good timing from Liquid identifying that they're going to get there first with Nisha having a bit of a lane advantage. And the moment that 6 cracks, the Mirana comes in for a 2v1 setup. This will be harder next time. They got it done while it was at its easiest, and that's what you want to see if you're a Liquid fan.
Well, haven't talked much about the Pangolier for Mr. Divide Llama, as he's getting a bit low. Kind of a weird game for him, as the shield crash will be there, but the Nightmare from Instania. Actually, Inkswell connects anyway. Boxy with the arrow. Not going to hit. And Schofield and company will have to back away, but they did force a rotation from Liquid.
Yeah.
But yeah, from Pango's perspective, just a weird game. You got Coil, you have Bane, Fiend's Grip. Like, not an easy game for Pango, but it is an offlaner.
Yeah, and they chose to pick it into Bane, right? They didn't see Puck at the time, but I guess Heroic are just that confident in their Pango that they feel like they can pick it into a classic counter matchup in the Bane. Sometimes some of the reasoning could also be, well, if... Oh, hang on. Boxy
Nice
trying to be
read.
sneaky.
Very nice read, but leap into safety. Arrow from afar. Oh, it does hit Instania.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. That is very unfortunate for Heroic. Instania will happily sacrifice his life. Maybe he can get a deny on these Ancients.
Oh, nice watch.
He might just try to run away the old-fashioned way.
He's fine.
All right, well.
Unless KJ comes in.
Analog is
no
coming.
No teleport ready.
Yeah, he's got his splitter at the ready.
He's not fine, Shannon. How dare you?
Very dead. Insania eventually drops, but that does take a lot of time.
That feels like a major win regardless of dying there, just because you had 3 heroes on your tail for so long. Lesh made the rotation, you got the rune.
K1, actually, the rage doesn't last long enough, and he ends up dropping in a 1v1, essentially, knowing that there's no reinforcements there. Nice play from Liquid.
Analog, in the meantime, trying to make the most of his rotation, not happy with just getting the Bane kill, so wants to get some damage on that tier 1 tower with the level 3 and Edict. Got some stuff done.
Yeah, the fight over the 8-minute rune. It will be a damage rune in the bot section, as KJ might be able to deny. Yes.
Wait. He got
it. It was denied and he bottled. That makes a lot of sense. Game's in beta, of course. Nature's Prophet dies. Next will be Schofield and Liquid. Off to the races, Synderen. We've seen that
from the same server tick shit, or what?
Yeah, we're gonna need 128 tick servers in Dota now, apparently. We've seen that a couple times throughout the history. Yeah, that is fun.
This is not the first, but it is a rarity. So being blessed already in game 1 with
Thank you, Gaben.
A special situation here, and Nisha just immediately making the most of it. If that rune got denied, he does not find both kills, so a little bit fortunate there to be favored by the server.
All right, it's too early. Cinder, I know they're behind, but what do you think of the Nature's Prophet so far? How it's worked for Heroic? Because I've noticed a couple situations where he sprouts in and it forces them back, as he might go down here. Divide Llama on the high ground to try to help out, but Nisha comes in for the finishing blow. Inkswell not going to end up hitting as the arrow hits instead from Boxy. And Insania coming in from the north now, gets a Nightmare. Nisha should be able to walk away safely. And again, the sacrifice is the Bane. So Insania, second time this game. And Liquid would be very happy with that.
I think overall this Nature's Prophet has probably not done as much as Heroic needed it to. I feel like, you know, you're 1k behind minute 10, which isn't terrible, but he's level 3. And this is the issue that you run into when you get no Wisdom Runes and you have Nature's Prophet on your team. This hero generally gets a bit starved for experience early on with those early movements. You're not pulling as much, you're not getting as much lane experience. So he's in this awkward predicament now where, what do you actually do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you go and just start laning mid to try to get some levels? You ideally...
I mean, if you saw this in your pub, a Nature's Prophet, level 3, no boots, going for Orchid next, apparently, that is not a good sign, Synderen. That's a report, usually, at 10 minutes in the game.
Yeah.
But we'll see if he can bounce back here.
Hope he has enough behavior score to get to play game 2.
That would be funny if it actually translated that way. So some stacks will be finally taken by Heroic. Not exactly a crazy one, though. And 33 already with the level advantage on the K1 thanks to that kill. We'll be pressuring the tier 1 in the meantime.
Yeah, it definitely feels like if Heroic wants to have a chance at stabilizing this game, it is going to be around Analog. The 4 points in Edict, any good fight taken around Lesh could lead to a tower.
K1, that's silence to start things out, and they have enough damage. Another death for K1, and they use that Primal Split to take the tier 1 tower. Mickey, though, let's see if Heroic can get a trade. They desperately need this. Inkswell on top of the Rolling Thunder. Will proc again onto Mickey. Should be a kill, indeed it is. So Heroic finally getting some sort of trade that looks reasonable.
Yeah, but how good is it really? They lost their tower. Can they get the top one with Lesh? Glyph's still on cooldown, so maybe he can just Edict this from the fog. Setting himself up by splitting down the trees here and standing in this cute little corner.
Yep, Insania being a nuisance.
Not getting it in the first round.
And this will provide a lot of time for Liquid to bring some reinforcements up here if they want. That's a Moonlight Shadow as well, and with that, I think Heroic starting to back away. Nisha, though, gets the Waning Rift. Should be a freebie onto Schofield as the coil comes in, latching onto Devi. He's going to be able to swashbuckle a decent distance away. Insania not able to close the gap, though.
And Nisha's hounding him.
They're continuing on here with the refraction charges. You can't blame them. And Nisha, I don't think they're going to pick up this kill, but definitely showing their prowess here early on.
Liquid, I believe, in that instance also did see the Ancient stack. Theoretically speaking, could try to steal it with the TA. She's not the strongest just yet to do this, but guess with the low resources they have on the puck and the lack of brew split, they're just not going to look to invade that. Maybe settling here for some good damage on the tier 1. Don't think they'll be able to complete it.
Yeah, it looks like it's a triple stack, so again, not anything super crazy. Is Inkswell. McGay, not going to get help from the arrow. Inkswell will eventually hit his KJ coming in as well. He's taking a ton of damage, but the focus is on McGay with that Pulse Nova, ripping right through the refraction charges. Down he goes. Rolling Thunder now, Nisha will get hit, so that's 2 cores dead for Liquid already. Of course, the mid laner for Heroic is lost. Now the Nature's Prophet to follow. Insania. Inkswell again. Schofield all over the place. He has been certainly the MVP for Heroic so far.
Yeah, and he gets his grand reward here. Level 7, minute 13 on the Grimstroke without bounties. That's really, or without wisdoms, excuse me. That's really good as we see the replay here. Wonder if there was a way out of this one for Nisha. Perhaps if he jaunts here, I feel like there was an escape path, but a little bit too slow and gets punished immediately. At the very least for Liquid, they do trade out the Nature's Prophet, but I think the big winners in this Heroic should be very happy about this. Lifestealer was not involved, so getting some good space. I know Brewmaster also not involved. By the way, 13-minute Radiant?
Yeah.
What is going on here? 33 having the game of his life right now.
And the Radiance for K1 is 1,000 away, just to show the difference there. And we'll see how much value they can get out of this timing from 33. As KJ is spotted. Gets off a Sprout, shield crash onto 2, but instant nightmare. Primal split, and it looks like Divine Llama's in a lot of trouble. Lift up onto Schofield. He's going to snap the coil. Divine Llama with a little baby swashbuckle, not enough to get away. And Analog finds support in the tree line, but Schofield's the one that dies next to the tier 2 tower. And now Analog looks to be next, just stuck inside this corner here. 3 dead as Liquid. Making very good use of the Radiance timing, it seems.
Just textbook stuff, right? Like they just identified this is a moment for us to strike. We have a huge advantage coming into this fight. Brewmaster ult as well as Coil available in the 13-minute Radiance that clearly Heroic were not expecting the way they accessed that fight. And look at how early that time was as well compared to average. It's way ahead of the curve right now on 33. And top 3 net worth in the game, comfortably sitting on the side of Liquid despite the 3 deaths on TA. She is still in 3rd.
Yeah, that's true.
So looking very, very healthy after that move mid. They get the tower, they get 3 kills, and they're going to keep ramping up. And the question that everybody has on their minds right now is, all right, when is K1 going to get to do 1 hero damage? It has not been time yet. I'm not faulting him for it. I don't think he could have been involved, but how are they going to bring him into the game when he has the Radiance? Is it going to be an Infest play with the Nature's Prophet? Is he going to play with the Pango? Are they even going to save the Infest in the fight for a burst heal on the Lesh, which could be really good combination? If you look at how Liquid are killing him every time, it does feel like it takes them a little bit, so could swing the fight in Heroic's favor, but as it stands, Liquid are very comfortable.
Yeah, Liquid with a 4K lead already at 14.5 minutes, and I mean, we're not quite there yet, Cinder, but since it's a pause, we can always talk about
Tier 5 neutral items?
We could if you'd like. I mean, that's always interesting, of course. Everybody very riveted by that conversation, but more so the Roshan.
Oh, the banner. The other one.
The second Roshan specifically, of course. No. So Liquid obviously have TA. Once he gets that Deso, Rosh will be relatively easy with the help of the likes of Brew and whatnot, but is there any way that Heroic can try and steal something? Because they don't really have a great Rosh lineup early on.
They're good at fighting in the pit, so I think for them the idea should be to try to intercept Liquid going for it. Or if they want to get Rosh themselves, it needs to be off a big team fight win where they don't expend all their resources. Because to kill Rosh, they need mana on Lesh and on the Pango. They need to kill him with spells. I don't think Lifestealer and a couple of other right clicks are going to get the job done before the entire Liquid team would respawn this early in the game. So that's probably the path for that. Liquid also not the fastest until there's a Deso on Mickey, which is, you know, it's quite far away. It's going to probably take him a couple of minutes at the very least, so not too big of a concern for either team at the current point in time.
So K1 desperately trying to get to that Radiance.
400 to go. Sacred Relic is a lot cheaper than it used to be back in my day.
That's right. Back in your day, it made 1 item, pretty sure. Divine.
I think it's made
Dire's top tower
Divine
is
and
under
Radiance
attack.
for a very long time.
I don't think Radiance was always in the game, but we'll talk about that another time when nobody's listening, because it's very,
Definitely been in the
very
game for
uninteresting.
many years.
It has, but not
Analog
forever.
in trouble.
Analog, waning rift, silence to start things out. He's coiled as well. TP support is coming, but he's already dead. Schofield just can't get there in time.
Schofield has the shard, but Lesh not tanky enough, and this is the snowball effect of everything Liquid did earlier.
Oh,
Imagine
boy.
this Lesh with another 300 health might have lived,
And they're
now they're
stealing
going to
Ancients.
lose all of these juicy stacks.
Yikes. Yeah,
We're
that is
saving
rough
them
stuff.
for Lifestealer, but
So I did want to bring something up regarding the Grimstroke pick. Might have to hold the horses here as K1 will be showing in lane. Schofield nearby with the Inkswell save if needed. Zany's going to walk right up with the Fiend's Grip. Arrow is there. Finally, Inkswell goes off and he gets dispelled. Infest inside of Schofield, and we're going to see Liquid just run away. A good attempt, but the bodyguard was there.
yeah. So what about Grim?
Oh, right. So Grimstroke, we've seen obviously the Inkswell is like the most important spell on this hero. You need somebody that can go on. Is going to have to hold the horses again. Moonlight Shadow, Analog again in a lot of trouble. I don't think the Inkswell is getting him out of this one. Does dispel, but just too much damage as Boxy ends up taking him out. And the Primal Split doing some extra work on the K1, who ends up dying. My goodness. So the Brewmaster ends up falling to the swashes. The coil comes in from Nisha onto 2. The silence is there as well. Rolling Thunder from Divine, not able to find any connection, and K1 just has to rage, try to run away, but the Inkswell does connect onto Nisha, but he's gonna have to run away instead as K1 just taking too much damage. Nisha actually going in for the kill. He gets it. Really get out with his life. Swashbuckle connects. Schofield in the tree line gets nightmared by Insania, and in fact they might just turn this around on Schofield instead, and that is indeed the case. Swashbuckle just misses Nisha, and somehow in all of that Nisha lives and now has a Blink Dagger.
Radiant's
Some
top
really
tower
good individual
is under
plays
attack.
coming out here. Nisha being super clutch on his puck as usual, but also Davai Lama with an insane
Radiant's top
swashbuckle
tower
kill
has fallen.
on the Brewmaster. Managed to hit the Storm element in the back when they were killing the Earth one in the front. If he hadn't killed the Storm element there, this would have been a complete crushing team fight the way of Liquid. They still do win it. Heroic are showing some signs of life, particularly Davai Lama. The question is for Heroic, how do you bring Lesh into the game? Like, Analog is just being targeted very determinedly by Liquid every single fight. You're trying to protect him with this Grimstroke. Imagine if Analog had a Bloodstone right now, or at least, you know, the Soul Boot, like just some more health. They would have more leeway to get him saved and actually get the spells off, but the puck in a single meld is more or less killing him 100-0. 33.
Schofield is found by 33. We'll get a cheeky little D ward. Sania shadowing him, but Nisha arrives,
Awesome.
and that's going to be the death of the Grim again.
Listening to Jenkins' advice of not chasing Schofield for too long, they just kill him in 5 seconds every time, so it doesn't really turn into a problem.
Yeah, well,
Grimstroke, not the best hero to go on a tour with. Clockwork has a better chance to.
oh my God,
against
blind
Boxy.
arrow from Boxy.
No
He's
follow-up.
not going to go in yet. Not enough vision there to
Just want to see
feel
if he could
confident.
do it.
Yeah, and he did. Good job, Boxy. We're really proud of you. 7K lead for Liquid, and now is about the time I think we can maybe think about the Roche if you're a Liquid fan.
Yeah, for sure. I think any sort of good team fight in the bottom area around minute 20 is what Liquid will start setting up for now. Start placing some traps, maybe get a good ward out down here, and then take a fight with your Brewmaster split. Now, Nature's Prophet does have the Orchid, which is a potential fight winner if they find a good Orchid onto the puck or onto the Bane when there's a grip going on, or if they can somehow kill Brew. But Heroic doesn't have the best burst damage. It's a lot of consistent damage over time with the Lesh, with the Panga, with the Lifestealer. Long fights in theory should be great for them, but that doesn't make for the easiest Orchid kills. Puck probably being the most realistic kill with that. That isn't a support, but he has currently got a bottled shield rune.
Arrow, ooh, just misses K1. Rolling Thunder from Divide is going to catch 33 for the time being. Can they prevent the Primal Split? Yes, they have the damage.
Infest for
And
the
now the
save.
Infest for Grim, although he looked like he was fine because Nisha ended up TPing away anyway.
Thank you, Devi. I feel like this is going to be the next level tipping. teams aren't doing this enough, just pinging how much damage they did to each
Yeah,
other.
but how do you monetize that, Cinder? That's not allowed. Insania already at half HP with that swash. Split Earth is there. Arrow not going to do much. So another kill for Heroic, and the Diabolic Edict upon the tier 1 mid, which hasn't really taken much damage to this point, just showing kind of the state of affairs for Heroic as of yet.
This is quite a big sequence for them, though. Getting these 2 kills, one of which was the Brew, who was, I think, top net worth before he died. To get the mid tower, to get K1 involved. He's currently working on his Manta style, which will obviously be good for multiple things. First of all, breaking the refraction on the TA. It'll help him not get gripped by Bane. If he's clutch with it, he can break out of the puck silence as well. A real feels-good item on the way here for K1. Still quite some ground to cover, but Heroic at the very least not completely faltering on the big stage after what I think is fair to say was a pretty bad start to the game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Divide Llama is the one leading the way in net worth for Heroic, as obviously has the blink and diffusal.
Yeah, I'm happy you bring him up because this was something we were talking about, that this is the least experienced on-stage player in this series, right? And some players really rise to the occasion, some crumble under the pressure. I've been very impressed with Divide so far in this game. I feel like he's really bringing what he needs to, really putting the team on his back in a lot of these situations. And personally can't tell the difference. This guy has been improving so much in the last year.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to see his trajectory because, like, from all the, as we're going to see Roche being taken by Liquid, but all those DPC years where these Divide Llama was stuck on tier 2 teams for how long? And how often do these players never really get to a tier 1 team, right? He's really worked hard, and Heroic definitely showing this tournament that they are amongst the big boys, Cinder, man.
Yeah,
they played really well.
I also think what's interesting about Divide is not just his growth to be at a tier 1 stage, it's more also the way in which it happened, right? It felt like he wasn't improving that much for a year or two, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened for him, but it's like something just clicked. I don't know if it was a mentality thing or a practice regime or whatnot, but the results speak for themselves. His impact in the games have grown massively. So really cool to see. Now they do choose to put the Aegis onto the puck here through Liquid, not on the TA.
Yep.
So think of that what you will in terms of what the macro strategy is here. Usually if the TA gets it, it's more of a, okay, we want to go and hit tower strategy. Putting it on the puck seems more of a, okay, we're looking to team fight, and we recognize that high ground is not an option for the foreseeable future. And I guess Nisha just needs the protection because he's going to go in extremely aggressively and give vision and set up his TA and his Brewmaster for a good fight. And they recognize that with the Orchid available on the side of Heroic as well as the Grim Silence, there are some problems that Nisha has to overcome. And he's even, does he have a Yule coming out here? Yes, okay, so he does have a defensive item now against the 2 silences, which I feel like was mandatory. And on the way, we'll start leading into the Parasma.
As we have another Moonlight Shadow. Not sure if Liquid's going to actually use this to get aggressive, although they are getting some wards down in the enemy triangle. And K1, like you said, the Manta style being delivered now.
Yep. AC next on the menu, makes sense. If you want the armor against TA, it's really good for your Lesh to have an AC aura as well. He's going to have to deal with TA and Brew hounding him all game. So getting him just a little bit tankier wherever you can would be nice. Honestly, I'm debating. This is an item we don't see picked up that often. I wonder if Nature's Prophet should actually go for Solar Crest here, just so you really need defensive layers for the Lesh to stay alive in the fight. That could be one approach. Either that or perhaps a Glimmer Cape, which is Grim's job, as it seems. Wouldn't mind seeing both. Prophet currently eyeing up the Ags, which also has its merit. It's really good against the Brew. It's good against the, honestly, all 3 enemy cores, so not mad at that either.
Yeah, the Ags for the Nature's Prophet, the root against the likes of Puck, like you said. How does that work against the Brewlings?
I think it roots all of them except the Earth element, if
Panda,
I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So.
You can see Heroic smoked, looking for a fight. Divide Llama is infested. Can provide that blink burst.
Only see Nisha, and he has the Aegis, and there's a lot of uncertainty in this situation for them. They don't have information about the whereabouts of the Liquid squad like we do, so we'll play it safe, weather the storm, and I think for Heroic, if you just avoid fighting entirely for the next 2 minutes while this Aegis is up and you keep your farm going, that's quite fine.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in that much of a hurry.
I mean, they've stopped the bleeding, no doubt.
Yeah.
It was up to a 7K lead, and it's not growing. So I think Heroic can be relatively happy based on how horrendous the start was for the laning stage.
And I did say before this game started that I had Liquid favored in terms of like overall scaling when this goes later, but on second glance, I'm not completely convinced. I think all of the heroes on Heroic are actually very strong in the late game. So
Nightmare into Arrow. That is a dead Grimstroke, and a coil into Grip. That is a lot of damage to the Llama. We will get his Rolling Thunder off, and here comes K1. Buyback now to the Grimstroke as KJ trying to kill himself onto the creeps, but he will fall the old-fashioned way. Now the chase onto Schofield. That is a dieback for the Grimstroke. My goodness. And now the cores for Heroic are the only ones left. They'll have to back away.
yeah, Analog just didn't show up. I don't know if he had a TP and canceled it or just flat out doesn't have one, but that was never going to be a good fight for Heroic without their Lesh, so yeah, the dieback, as you said, not the greatest. Liquid get a very great fight out of this, and now if they even find Analog, that would be the biggest kill of them all. They do spot him.
Yeah, Pulse Nova on the other side of the tree line. He gets off the split earth, but now the arrow setup gets off the Bloodstone, but nobody's near enough to get that spell lifesteal, so down goes the Lesh. Didn't show up to the fight and dies anyway, as Nisha take a couple right clicks from K1, but we'll brush it off.
Yeah. The silver lining here for Analog is that he did complete his item. He bought a dagger, which I find to be a very interesting choice in this situation. I'm still concerned for his overall just sustainability in the fight. This will help him with the positioning, of course, and maybe trying to find a surprise angle onto, for example, killing the Bane when the lifesteal gets gripped, or maybe you can find an angle on the TA to start. But if you are the target, this item is just 2,250 dead gold that could have been spent on building into some sort of armor, like a Shiva could have been a thing. Nice Nightmare Arrow.
They just have, when you're at this stage of the game and you have these setups, it is so hard for Heroic to get back in after bleeding a little bit more. And now the lead is getting to a point where Liquid are feeling very comfortable. They have the vision, Insania with a Nightmare, but Mickey not able to reconnect. Boxy gets off the arrow, Starstorm and the right clicks. Divine Llama dies in his own base.
Yeah,
Liquid dominating. Yep.
Heroic just not covering each other too well. Schofield being dead means that there's an avenue to kill cores all of a sudden, since they can't be saved by the Grimstroke Shard, and Nature's Prophet was not able to TP in and find a key Orchid to protect him there, so Liquid really turning it up right now. Going to be finishing this top tier 2 tower as well. Just keep on limiting the space that Heroic have to work with, and even getting in their heads a little bit. This Nightmare onto K1 only for the purpose of just being annoying. And that's quite effective sometimes.
Yeah, you know a lot about that.
Yep. Made a career out of it.
That's true.
33 on the Moonlight Shadow. And Nisha, no angle.
Don't get the Wisdom Rune. So another stolen one in favor of Liquid.
Yeah, you would think KJ would steal theirs in turn, but
yeah, that's
not really looking at the clock, is he?
He's got a lot of other things on his mind right now.
Bit of a blunder, to be honest.
Boxy, Yule's arrow set up again into a burst damage from everyone, it seems. Mika gets the last click for that. So top 3 net worth for Liquid. Do not have Aegis any longer, but they will poke the high ground.
Yeah, Schofield getting desperate for some D-warding. It's going to cost him. Infested
Llama,
Ogre.
he actually wants to go in. Yeah, the Infested Ogre comes in. Something to truly fear as Mickey dies.
Wow, Liquid were not near at all. They just called the bluff. I don't know if they saw someone on a ward out on the map, but Heroic were like, this is a free TA kill. Just a flat-out mistake for Mickey to be left alone here. Whoever made the call to either leave or stay. Somebody's losing behavior score on that. Divine Llama in trouble.
Yes.
Will be saved by Grim.
Will barely get out. Insania gets off a Nightmare to keep Analog at bay. The coil onto 2 from Nisha, and here comes 33 beating away at the Lesh. Schofield dies for what seems like the millionth time, and now basically a 4v1. And that is the death of Analog. And they find Divine Llama on the outskirts, and now a silence onto K1. Yule, Primal Split being faked out. There's the grip. And you would think they should have the damage now to finish the job. Indeed they do. So despite losing their TA at the beginning, Liquid fight and win handily.
Yeah, the classic kill the enemy carry mid lane into dying 4 heroes afterwards to going in 1 by 1 essentially. It's Heroic not not playing tight enough in this situation, I think. I like that they were trying to invade the bottom area and put some more pressure, but you gotta bring the Lifestealer to this move. You have the perfect vehicles too. He can infest the Nature's Prophet to always be there. He could have infested the Lesh or the Pango. They both have daggers. The ways of getting in are there, but just not quite delivering in this instance, and Liquid gonna capitalize in a big way. 4 kills, Elena Barracks, and way back into a comfortable spot. Might even go for a bit more here. Mickey will be poking at mid at the very least, but they will respect the counterplay potential of Heroic. Now finally this Axe comes out for KJ 30 minutes in. I mean, this is a pretty decent support inventory, usually at 30. But for Nature's Prophet, you just want to be... You have the same net worth as the enemy Bane. You know, like that in itself tells the story.
Yeah, 500 from Ags for Insania. We talked about it pregame.
Yep.
I looked at his inventory 5 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, that's not happening, I guess. A lot has changed in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, that bottom fight plus Rax is a lot of gold in his pocket. Not sure if he actually got one of the kills. He got the killing blow on Analog, so... And on Schofield, okay. Well, there you go. That'll do it.
I'm not sure if he bought... I guess he did buy... No. He probably got the shard from
I think he got it from the Tormentor.
And that allows the old Bane to farm away, of course. Very valuable one is KJ working on a BKB. Well, technically he's working on a Wraithband right now because he's so far away from the BKB. As finally the Ags comes out from Divide, but it is feeling like a little bit too late potentially for Heroic. But they do have an Assault now for K1.
It is possible to see...
And they have an Assault on 33
well,
now.
They had an advantage for 2 seconds. Can't believe they didn't use it. There is an avenue for the Heroic lineup to still win fights. I still think their utility and the way their lineup is crafted and what items they have right now are quite good, but I think as long as Liquid are making sure not to clump up too much, I think is really the name of the game here. Just keep sending in the Brew on his BKB alone and make some space in the fight. Poke and prod with Puck, and eventually you're just going to find assassinations, essentially. And it's going to be a lot harder for Heroic to combine their spells in the way that they want. They would love to hit a big Nature's Prophet ult into a Pango roll or into a Lesh combo or some sort of Soulbind double Prophet ult, double Lightning Storm. Just hasn't really been possible with the way Liquid are placing their heroes. I think we've seen 1 2-hero Soulbind in this game, if
Does
even.
the Wrath of Nature actually proc completely, like 2 separate ones?
Yeah.
And not just the first hit?
You just cast the spell twice, but obviously the first target that you choose will take low damage, so
yeah,
a lot of the time... Oh, oh no.
Oh boy, Heroic have to back away. They can't even kill the Tormentor at this stage.
All right, K1's like, I can't believe I have to do this for you guys. He will.
There you go.
And he will get open wounds.
That's a good one. Should mention that Insania's Courier did die, so the Aghanim Scepter will not be delivered for another minute and a half. As 33
Booze and Buddies
with
in the base and in the crowd.
Yes, very, very fitting. Gonna push K1 to the other side. He's gonna have to use his Rage to try to take out this Earth Panda, but it's not happening. Now the Rage is gone. Oh, instant Orchid onto Nisha, but you can see Schofield is the one dying on the other side to Mickey very casually. And then we see the Wrath of Nature, but the phase shift will end up dodging out the Split Earth. And already 2 dead for Heroic. And that's a buyback on to Schofield, but damage has been done. Range Rax is dead. Will they try to defend 4v5 with this melee rack still up? Looks like that is a negative. So 2 sets of racks for Liquid here in this game 1. And they're not going to stop now. As Mickey with the Hurricane Pike. Schofield.
Oh, no.
Oh, that is so sad. That is a dieback for him. K1 does take out Insania, but now Mickey and company trying to turn this around. Down goes Analog. Only 2 remaining members of Heroic. As the BKBs were pop galore for Liquid. Still with the Aegis, though. No reason to stop now. Major numbers advantage. Divide Llama is back in 5 seconds, so this will likely be the last stand for Heroic. If they're not careful, they're going to get mega creeped here in just a moment.
I think even if they are careful, they will.
That's a very bold call, Cinderin. Hurricane Pike again. Divide Llama with the Rolling Thunder. Mickey on the other side doing a massive damage to Divide. Trying to focus down Mickey, but again, he still has that Aegis as Boxy with the BKB. All right, we didn't notice that one. Another nice swash, but that is going to be the death of Divine Llama, and now the Mega Creeps to come for Liquid. And still the Aegis remains, and finally the Ags is completed for Insania.
A little bit bittersweet to get your amazing item after Megas.
That's right. Well, as long as it's in the in-game or the end-game inventory, that's all these pros care about. Primal split onto the tier 4s with the Deso being applied as well. And there's the grip. Insania can walk around freely, showing that Aghanim Scepter in style. And K1 is dead. 70 seconds of no life stealer. And now Liquid just going to clean up everybody else as GGs are called. Game number 1